Spencer, you sound like it'd be the first goalie off the ice. Anything you want to say?
7 o'clock. Is that puck drop? What do they do warm up at? 5:20? 5:8?
6:30.
Or sorry, yeah, 6:30. You find out then?
You talked about this a little on Saturday, but I'm curious about two lines in particular for Montreal. The Suzuki line and the Dvorak line. Can you kind of break those two down for me? Like what makes them work dangerous?
Suzuki's line, 3 elite players. I think a good combination of the centerman being, he's come into his own as a player in the National Hockey League, extremely intelligent, plays at both ends of the rink, can see plays developing as a centerman, so he's in good spots. He can facilitate from the middle of the ice, and then you've got a elite shooter, just an elite offensive player in Cole Caufield, and then Slafkovsky, who's a young player that now has grown into understanding. I heard Marty talking about him of understanding how to use his size, power, physicality to go along with the hands, the shots. So you got 3. It's a good combination to make that line as good as they've been this year. And then interesting stat too I read on them. They've played together. I'm gonna do some work for you here.
All right, yeah, I love this.
They've played together. There's 3 lines in the NHL that have played, I think, over 700 minutes together as a line in the season, and that's one of them. The other 2 are, I think it's the Scheifele line in Winnipeg and actually Stromer's brother in Anaheim. But so why I say that is when you play that long as a trio, you start to develop, and they've played years past together. It's nothing you don't know, but a lot of chemistry there. They know where each other are. And that's what I saw going back through our film. They make a ton of plays to one another in all 3 zones that end up right on the tape. The other line that you mentioned, I think, that's their line, similar to our line that centered by Nick Dowd. Hard, physical, in good spots, reliable, smart, veteran presence. So that's what I see with those guys.
Raise your hand quick. Try one real quick, but first, has Logan been cleared back lately, or are you not going to say that either?
That would be a Serbs question. I don't even know if. Yeah, that's a Serbs question.
And then just Lane Hutson, how much of your game playing is centered around when you're talking about this team, centered on him, and what makes it unique, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we're very focused on the things that we need to do as a group. Now, he's a player that we have to be aware of, and the season that he's had and the player that he's become in a short period of time, he's best comparison, and he's going to get to this level. Obviously, the player that I'm about to say has accomplished a lot more in his career to this point, but Lane is on that trajectory. Is Quinn Hughes. That's the type of impact that he can have on a game 5-on-5 and on the power play. His lateral mobility, his poise with the puck, his vision, deception, patience, all those things of those one-in-a-kind defensemen that there's a handful of them in the league, and he's one of them, and you have to pre-scout, and you have to be aware of him when you're on the ice, and there's a lot of ways that he can beat you, and there's some ways, or that there's specific things that we'll try to do to neutralize that. We know you can't keep the puck out of his hands, and he's going to make some plays out there. We just got to do our best to limit the amount that he's making, and when he does get the puck, are we in good positions to help and all the different stuff that we need to do.
Steve, what about?
Since we saw Alexi Protas skate out there for 15 minutes or so, I know this is probably something Jason Circus as well, you have the conversation.
Yep.
How optimistic are you about him getting involved in the series, whether it's game 2 or game 3 at some point, if it's conditioning gets there?
Yeah, I think he absolutely, I would expect him to play, and we'll just see when that is. Might be tonight, might be game 2, we'll see.